This is Northern Light for Tuesday, June 16th. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. The two Democrats running to represent New York's 21st Congressional District debated last week. Blake Gendebien and Stuart Amorell talked about how they'd get things done for the North Country in Congress.
I'm going to be laser focused on what's right for the North Country and upstate New York.
I don't think any of those things are going to happen until we put a check on Trump's power.
Also on the show, the United Way of Northern New York is hosting its first community food drive in St. Lawrence County tomorrow amid a rise in food insecurity in the North Country.
I think we as a community, we have an obligation to make sure that our kiddos have enough to eat so that they can grow and learn and thrive.
And we're days away from the longest day of the year. Astronomer Aileen O'Donoghue will guide us through what to look for when the stars come out.
All that's coming up on Northern Light. Stick with us. Support for Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio comes from McFadden Deer Insurance in Canton, Potsdam, and Gouverneur, encouraging North Country residents to support local nonprofit organizations that provide services to those in need. McFaddenDeer.com. And from the Adirondack Community Foundation, where generous donors, fund holders, and change makers come together to address the Adirondack region's biggest challenges, including housing, childcare, and career pathways. adkcommunityfoundation.org. Northern Light. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. The two Democrats hoping to flip New York's 21st Congressional District blue debated last week for the first and only time ahead of the June 23rd primary. Kara Chapman has more.
Lake Placid businessman Stuart Amorell and St. Lawrence County farmer Blake Gendebien met for the debate at the CBS 6 News studio in Schenectady Thursday.
Good evening, everyone. I am Tom Eschen, and welcome to this special Power and Politics presentation.
Unlike their Republican counterparts who lobbed attacks at each other on the same stage last month, the two Democrats kept things civil as they laid out where they agreed and disagreed. Speaking just days after reports that ICE agents had apprehended more than 20 people in the Adirondacks, Amorell had some strong thoughts about what should happen with the controversial agency.
We need to dismantle and replace ICE as we know it, and replace it with an immigration enforcement agency that respects the rule of law, due process, and the dignity of all people.
CBS 6 News anchor Tom Eschen turned to Gendebien.
Would you vote to defund ICE?
No, what I will support is changing the leadership and make sure that all law enforcement operates with accountability and transparency with the same rules. Nobody should be unidentifiable, and we should have body cams.
Eschen later asked the candidates how they'd address the Trump administration's use of power. Gendebien said his campaign is for voters who want to rebuild the U.S. relationship with Canada, support union members, and protect rural hospitals.
I'm going to be laser focused on what's right for the North Country and upstate New York. And like Stuart said, if we keep the people in this district's a priority and their concerns a priority, we will not go wrong.
Amorell said he agreed with the priorities Gendebien mentioned.
But here's the thing. I don't think any of those things are going to happen until we put a check on Trump's power, until we force the executive and Trump to live within the four corners of the Constitution. Until we do that, nothing else is possible.
For Amorell, that check is Democrats taking back control of Congress. The two candidates both committed to actively engaging with constituents if elected. Amorell said he'd spend as much time in district listening to people as possible.
And we'll achieve this by making sure that we have legislative offices across the district, including mobile offices that can access our remote and rural communities so that every voice can be heard in Washington.
Gendebien said he's already spent 18 months crisscrossing the district meeting with voters.
And I commit to doing town halls in every single county because we already have. The voters in this district are the best part of the district, and I want to hear from them.
During a rapid-fire round, the two Democrats agreed that it was right for then-President Joe Biden to drop out of the 2024 election. On who from their party should try to win back the White House in 2028, Amaral had to think about his answer.
I can't answer that question yet. I have to wait and see and hear the positions and the values of those that run before I could say who I think should be the president.
Okay, move on. Mr. Gendebien?
I couldn't think of anything I'm less interested in.
Okay.
You can watch the full debate on the CBS 6 Albany YouTube channel. That's also where you can find the debate between the Republicans running to represent NY-21, Sticker Mule CEO Anthony Constantino, and Assemblyman Robert Smullen. Early voting for the primary takes place through Sunday. The election is next Tuesday, June 23rd. Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio.
You can find all of NCPR's election coverage, including profiles of the candidates running for New York's 21st Congressional District, at ncpr.org/election.
The school budget for Ausable Valley is up for a second vote today. The first budget was rejected by voters last month. It called for a 12% increase in the tax levy from the previous year. Because it exceeded the tax cap, the budget needed to be approved by at least 60% of voters. It only got 45%. The new school budget for Ausable Valley proposes tax levy of about 6%. It also proposes a slightly smaller spending plan from last year, around $38.5 million.
The school district has cut 21 staff positions in recent years amid declining enrollment and rising costs. If voters reject the budget today, the school district would have to adopt a contingency budget with a 0% tax levy increase. That would force the district to cut 5 more teacher positions. Polls are open today in Ausable Forks from noon until 8 p.m. at the high school cafeteria.
The Ogdensburg City Council is looking to fill a vacancy on its board. Councilor Michael Powers resigned earlier this month. He served on city council for about a decade in non-consecutive terms. According to North Country Now, people interested in joining the council have until June 22nd to file an application with the city clerk's office. The city's vacancy committee will recommend 3 finalists to the city council. The council is expected to hold a special meeting in July to appoint the new councilor.
A group of warehouses in Essex County owned by a Vermont-based whiskey distiller has been sold. According to the Adirondack Explorer, Whistle Pig Whiskey sold its warehouses in Mariah for $17 million back in March. The company has been distilling whiskey there since 2017. A few years ago, the Explorer reported that whiskey fungus had been spreading on the warehouses as well as some nearby homes in Mariah. The following year, Whistle Pig agreed to pay to clean the outside of homes that had been affected within a 1,000-yard radius. Mariah's town supervisor told the Explorer he hadn't heard the warehouses had been sold.
And Jefferson Community College is offering a new associate's degree in health sciences this fall. Jefferson Community College says the 2-year program is designed for students interested in health careers who have not yet decided on a specific path. The degree will provide a background in science, math, and liberal arts and prepare students for transfer to bachelor's degree programs like nursing and other health-related programs. Applications are now being accepted. This is NCPR. You're listening to Northern Light only here on North Country Public Radio. It's 10 after 8. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Stick around. We'll talk with astronomer Aileen O'Donoghue about our night sky and what we can look for among the stars.
That conversation is coming up in just a few minutes here on North Country Public Radio. But first, we'll listen to a little bit more music from Ramon Vasquez out of Malone. Support for Northern Light comes from the Seagull Festival in Schroon Lake, presenting its 111th summer season of opera and musical theater in 2026. More at seagullfestival.org. And from Keys Financial Services, now partnered with BK Capital LLC, offering investments, financial planning, and insurance for over 35 years. Offices in Lake Placid and Durham, Connecticut. keys-financial.com. Support also comes from the Adirondack Land Trust, conserving forests, farmlands, waters, scenic vistas, and wild places. Details at adirondacklandtrust.org.
Food insecurity is on the rise across the U.S. Close to 16% of families say they've received food donations to help get by, according to a recent survey from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Tomorrow, the United Way of Northern New York is hosting a community food drive at the Walmart in Potsdam. They're collecting food and hygiene items that will be distributed to all the food pantries in St. Lawrence County. I spoke with its CEO, Don Cole, about why it's needed right now.
General awareness of food insecurity and increased need at food pantries tends to happen around the holiday time, right? Where we all kind of are aware of the need and we tend to be more generous to our pantries around the holiday time. But what we sometimes forget, because summers are short here in the North Country and we're all trying to cram as much, fun as we can into a short period of time, what we forget is that the need really intensifies in July and August when kids don't have access to those school meal programs, right? And now they're home, and even many working families are increasingly turning to food pantries to, keep food on the table. So we recognize that this is a peak time and just wanted to build some awareness around food insecurity in the summer. Now, national statistics tell us that it's approximately 1 in 5 children who are uncertain where their next meal is coming from. But when we look at local indicators in a very rural county like St. Lawrence, we recognize that there are transportation barriers, distance between resources, access to resources. We believe, local providers believe that number may even be greater. The need is even greater in a rural community like St. Lawrence County.
You're talking about need here. Could you kind of share with me, what need for food and hygiene products, what does that look like here in the North Country?
Well, we hear from our pantry partners that they're seeing increases now in the last, couple of months as we see, cost of living has increased substantially, cost of gas, cost of food. So as the cost of goods rises, so too does the need. Pantry partners are telling us that they are seeing more working families who rely on food pantries to just kind of supplement their budgets. And, we recognize that costs have gone up for everyone, but we're hopeful that those of us that can afford to do a little extra, may choose to buy a couple of extra jars of peanut butter or an extra box of cereal and make a contribution to the community food drive, because every little bit makes a difference. It truly does.
Have you seen more people give during this time while there's also increased need?
We have, and we concluded the Jefferson Lewis County Community Food Drive on June 3rd, and we did raise a record number of donations. Now, we recognize going into this on Wednesday in Potsdam that this is a first endeavor. So it may take us a couple of years to grow this to a substantial program. But everyone that we've talked to is really excited. We've come together multiple times over the last several weeks, kind of looked at need, talked with the pantries in our neighborhoods and decided that, that this was a great opportunity not only to build support for pantries as they head into this busy season, but also just to enhance awareness about food insecurity. If you don't experience it, you may not realize that sadly food insecurity does exist in our local community.
Since SNAP requirements changed, what has that been looking like? Have you seen any changes?
What we're hearing from our partners is that it's still a little bit early, so partners are bracing for changes, right? There was a grace period that SNAP applicants could apply for. So I think it's just a little bit early to see what the full impact of the SNAP changes will bring. We're really focused on that increased need, particularly families that have children once school lets out.
Before this event in Potsdam, what do you want people to know about it and food insecurity?
Just that, sometimes when we're comfortable and we enjoy, relative stability in our lives, sometimes it might be easy for us to think that folks who are relying on pantries are unwilling to work. But nothing could be farther from the truth. There are a growing number of working families who need to rely on services just to keep food on the table and keep their families as healthy as they can. We should always be careful to not judge someone else's journey, but to actually put ourselves in their shoes and imagine what it feels like to go to bed at night without enough food, particularly if you're a child, right? Children need so much in terms of nutrition and a higher caloric intake because they're growing, right? And their bodies are changing. And I think we as a community, we have an obligation to make sure that our kiddos have enough to eat so that they can grow and learn and thrive.
That was Dawn Cole, CEO of United Way of Northern New York. The group is hosting a food drive at the Walmart in Potsdam on Route 11 tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. All the proceeds and donations collected will be divided and shared among the food pantries in St. Lawrence County. They're asking folks to donate healthy, shelf-stable items like peanut butter, cereal, whole grain pastas, along with hygiene products like shampoo, toothpaste, and deodorant. Again, that collection event is tomorrow at the Potsdam Walmart from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is NCPR.
You're listening to Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio. It's 8:19. Good morning. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Catherine Wheeler. Stick around after the show for Bird Note. It's coming up at 8:42. With our eyes to the skies, sunset in Colton is at 8:47 tonight, and the moon is waxing crescent at 4% of full.
Today it should be just a beautiful day for you. Sunny skies coming your way with highs expected to be in the lower 70s. Dry conditions too, so not too humid out. Dry conditions continue through tomorrow morning as well before rain showers and chance of thunderstorms come our way tomorrow afternoon and evening, and then rain continuing into Thursday and into the end of the week. At last check, it was 62 degrees in Fort Drum, 56 right now in Saranac Lake, 61 in Plattsburgh, 55 degrees in Queensbury, and 12 degrees Celsius in Gananoque, Ontario.
Well, take advantage of clear skies tonight. Step outside and you'll see a spectacular display. Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus will line up with the crescent moon. The summer constellations are out and bright. And here to tell us more about is Dr. Aileen O'Donoghue. She's an astronomer with St. Lawrence University and the Adirondack Sky Center and Observatory. Good morning, Aileen.
Good morning. How are you?
Better now.
Yes, after the rain yesterday.
Well, we got to enjoy Jupiter and Mercury before they leave us next month.
That's right. Jupiter and, Mercury is going to go away much faster. Jupiter is slowly going away. And then Venus is popping up. It's at about its maximum above the horizon at sunset. And it's going to be hanging out there all summer. So it's going to be just lovely. And actually, there's an event with Venus tomorrow that I have to tell everyone about. That about 3:50 in the afternoon, the moon is going to actually move in front of Venus because they're moving at different speeds. And so that if you look about, start setting up about 3:45, stand in the shadow. Don't stand where you can see the sun because you do not want to look at the sun, whether it's eclipsed or not. It's really not a good idea. And so if you stand in the shadow and you find the crescent moon, it's going to be, it should be to the left of the sun, and the crescent will be pointing, the crescent points away from the sun, the horns point away from the sun. And so if you look to the left of the moon, to the dark side of the moon, if you use binoculars at first, you should be able to see once you find the crescent moon, you should be able to see Venus to its left. And the moon is moving in its orbit, so it's going to move in front of Venus at about 3:50, give or take a few minutes, depending on where you are. So it's kind of a cool thing to look at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon if it's still clear. And it's just exciting. It hasn't happened for 11 years. I mean, the moon goes around every month, right? It's held to the Earth by the gravitational force between it and Earth, and it orbits Earth. And the phase of the moon, of course, is how much of the lit side of the moon that we see.
Right. And also tonight, Jupiter there too. It's quite the display.
It is.
With Mercury.
Yes, and there's
Venus.
Yeah, and there's this little triangle that's going to show up, and the moon is going to move through them. So tonight, the moon is going to be to the right of Jupiter and just above Mercury, and then Venus will be up and a little bit left. And so it's kind of this flat triangle of planets with the moon in the midst of it. The moon is the apex of a flat triangle. Mercury is the bottom, and then Jupiter is the top. It's kind of sitting there at 45 degrees. But it should be lovely, particularly if you, get your binoculars out, your birding binoculars, and look this evening. Let's see, it's about, I guess, 8 or 9 o'clock. What time is sunset tonight? So sunset is at 8:48. So a little after 9, you can go out and look for these planets in the western sky. So, yes. Today, by the way, the longest day is coming up on us.
Yes. Well,
yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
It's on June 20th, right?
That's right. And it's going to be a full 47 seconds longer than today.
Wow.
And actually, the earliest sunrise was yesterday morning. I don't know if you guys noticed. Oh, my God, it's so light when we leave for work. So, those of you who love the light, don't listen to the next minute. But sunrise is starting to get later. But sunset is still getting later. It won't get to its maximum until the 26th of June. So the earliest sunrise was yesterday. The longest day is on the 20th, and then the latest sunset is on the 26th. And, we're at the top of the year. We're at the longest daylight time of the year. And the length of the day actually changes by 6 hours and 44 minutes between summer and winter.
Wow.
It's a big chunk.
It's noticeable.
Yes, it's noticeable. And so because we fiddle with the clock, the sunset varies by 4.5 hours, but sunrise only varies by about 2.5 hours because we change our clocks. And so people want to stay on one way or the other, saying, okay, I want sunrise to change by 3 hours and sunset to change by 3 hours.
And as you've often said before, for the folks that think that we should get rid of daylight savings, otherwise, if we do that, we'll be waking up have some days where the sun doesn't rise until, 9:30?
If we stay on daylight saving, no, it'll rise at 8:30 in the winter. All right. If we stay on standard time, it'll rise at 4:15 in the morning in the summer. So, which do you prefer?
Well, and these long days really make it so you have to kind of stay up later for it to really get so dark and really get dark out.
Yes, we don't get to astronomical twilight until 11:16 tonight. It's not fully dark until 11:15. And then it starts getting light again at 3-something in the morning.
Well, during that short time, what constellation should we be looking for in the evening?
Oh, Leo. Leo is just going to be beautiful. Actually, who's going to be close to Leo? Venus is going to be close to Regulus. Oh, no, yes. The stars, so Venus is rising up. The stars are moving down past it. And it's going to be near Regulus, which is Leo's elbow. So think of the Sphinx lying there with his paws outstretched. Regulus is the elbow of his right leg, his right front leg. And so Venus is moving into Leo. And Leo is beautiful. It just looks like a lion. It looks like the Sphinx. And it's thought that it might have been the model for the Sphinx. And so we're going to see Venus pass near Regulus. Right up above is Boötes, the herdsman. If you look straight up, if you look over a little bit to the west, to the east, you can see the Big Dipper. It's usually easy for everyone to pick out. And then if you make an arc for the Arc of the Handle, you can make an arc, continue that arc to Arcturus, and then continue kind of in the same direction and make a spike to Spica. Spica is the brightest star in Virgo. And so that arc to Arcturus and spike to Spica can kind of give you an orientation. The Virgo is, of course, where the autumnal equinox position is in the sky. And so as the sun is in the summer position of the summer solstice or the June solstice, right above the club of Orion, and of course you can't see Orion because the sun is in the way, but that's where that sun is now, and it's going to be moving toward Virgo, which is high in the evening sky right now, 90 degrees away from the summer solstice as the sun sets.
And what can we look for in our morning skies? I think it's Saturn and Mars.
Yes, slowly creeping up away from the horizon because they are on the far side of the solar system. The great racetrack in the sky, Earth has left them behind. So they're on the far side of the track moving more slowly. We're coming around our side, and we're starting slowly. We have come around our side, and we're going to slowly catch up to them both. We'll catch up to Saturn a little faster than Mars. So it's coming. Morning is going to be better late in summer and fall.
Always lots to look for in the morning and evening skies. Astronomer Aileen O'Donoghue joins us from St. Lawrence University and the Sky Center and Observatory in Tupper Lake, too, every month right here to guide us through the wonders of the universe. Aileen,
I keep looking up.
Thanks so much.